The Rules of Cutlery. In this lesson, we're going to look at the rules of cutlery. But instead of simply telling you what they are, we'll be looking at a number of scenarios involving cutlery, and after each, see if you can figure out what went wrong and how it could have been prevented. In this case, the waiter didn't polish enough cutlery for service. The preparation wasn't done. As a result, the fish knives ran out during service. So can you guess what the rule is then? You should always work with your team to ensure that there is sufficient stock of cutlery ready for service. If during service cutlery runs out, make sure you polish a few of the missing cutlery, not just enough for yourself. So the rule is, prepare enough cutlery before service. Let's take a look at the next situation. Based on this scenario, what would you say went wrong? You should never polish cutlery front of house or in front of the guest. This sends the message that you didn't prepare for the guest and that you aren't thinking ahead. Rather ensure that cutlery is beautifully polished back of house and stored correctly. So the rule is, never polish cutlery front of house. Now let's take a look at the next situation. There's no use in beautifully polishing your cutlery only to make it full of fingerprints when you carry it to the table. It is also dangerous and unhygienic. A guest might think you're trying to injure them. So the rule is that you must always carry cutlery on a tray. Now take a look at the next scenario. So what went wrong here? The cutlery wasn't set from the outside in. As you have seen in the lessons on each piece of cutlery, it is international convention that cutlery is set from the outside in. In other words, if the guest ordered a starter and a main course, the starter knife and fork are on the outside of the setting, and the main course knife and fork on the inside. With this system, the next set of cutlery is always readily available, and the guest doesn't get confused. So the rule is, always set cutlery from the outside in. Let's look at the next rule. Most of you would have picked up on this one. The guests' food arrived, but they had no cutlery to eat with, and the food got cold. So this rule to fix this is simple. Always deliver cutlery before you bring the next course. Now take a look at the next situation. The waiter didn't place the cutlery to leave enough room for the plate. To solve this, always think 2 steps ahead and place the cutlery wide enough for the dish you will be serving next. Well done if you noticed this. So the rule is, always set the cutlery wide enough for the plate. Finally, have a look at the last sequence to see what went wrong. This waiter failed to secure the cutlery on the plate and swiped the plate off the table instead of removing it gracefully. When removing cutlery from the table, quietly secure it with your thumb, like this. This prevents the cutlery from making a noise, moving around, or falling. So the final rule of cutlery is to always secure cutlery on the plate when clearing. So, let's recap the 7 rules of cutlery. Number 1. Prepare enough cutlery before service. Number 2. Never polish cutlery front of house. Number 3. Always carry cutlery on a tray. Number 4. Set cutlery from the outside in. Number 5. Deliver cutlery before you bring the next course. Number 6. Place the cutlery wide enough for the dish. Can you remember the last one? Number 7. Always secure cutlery on the plate when clearing. To finish this lesson, let's have a look at 2 ways to place cutlery on the table. Which do you think is better? In the first example, the cutlery is placed gently and elegantly on the table. In the second example, the cutlery is put down in a hard and abrupt way. Whenever you're placing cutlery, or anything down on the table, be sure to place it gently, not simply put it down. Well done on uncovering the rules of cutlery. Good luck remembering and following these very important rules.